General Hospital spoilers tease that Ava has just faced a life-and-death moment after being suddenly attacked under mysterious circumstances, sending shockwaves of fear and suspicion throughout Port Charles. But what truly escalates the danger and madness is the very first name that comes up after the incident, Kristina. Once again, she's dragged into the eye of the storm of doubt. Just as her past was starting to settle, the present roars back to life, pushing her toward the edge of an unforeseeable crisis. Ava's unconscious state and critical condition immediately direct all eyes toward Kristina, who has a history of deliberately harming Ava, once even sabotaging a car in a clearly revenge-driven act. Though there's no solid evidence yet, her exposed motives, emotionally volatile nature, and unresolved grudges paint her as the perfect suspect, even before she speaks a word. This incident isn't just an isolated accident, it's the latest chapter in a long series of mistakes and long-suppressed emotions. Kristina once tried to change. Her family once sheltered and forgave her. She once promised to control her behavior. But the past never truly lets go. And Ava? She's not one to forgive easily. Much less allow herself to become a target without retaliation. If she wakes up, her words will carry immense weight. A single accusation from Ava could be enough to drag Kristina into legal peril beyond denial. No one knows for sure whether Kristina attacked Ava, but the memory of that car sabotage still lingers in the minds of everyone in town. Alexis no longer holds the upper hand. She once rejected Diane's warning that Kristina needed intensive treatment, before it was too late. Now, with Diane's fears becoming reality, Alexis must face the guilt of a mother who chose protection over truth. Has her maternal love driven Kristina into an inescapable pit? Or is her indecision slowly stripping her of the ability to truly protect her daughter? Questions pile up. Accusatory glances and sympathetic sighs are all aimed at Kristina, the girl teetering on the edge between victim and perpetrator. What's even more dangerous is that Ava may not be the only one in Kristina's world capable of manipulation and revenge. Figures like Rick, Lucky, and Diane are starting to question, to dig, and to connect the dots. If someone really wanted to frame Kristina, make her the scapegoat for a deeper conspiracy, now would be the perfect time. She has no alibi, no powerful allies. And most critically, she lacks the unwavering trust of anyone, not even herself. Port Charles is no longer a safe haven for Kristina. And this time, she may not just be misunderstood, she could be found guilty, abandoned, and pulled into a spiral of hatred, law, and distorted truths. Ava's attack has elevated Kristina's story to a whole new level. It's no longer a personal conflict, it's a public nightmare where she must fight to prove she didn't do what everyone seems convinced she did. But when the past returns, and the name, Kristina, becomes synonymous with instability and violence, who will stand by her? And this time, can she escape the darkness, or will it consume her completely? The answers remain ahead, but one thing is clear, a dangerous and fiery new chapter has begun. Kristina is spiraling into total chaos as she suddenly finds herself at the center of a serious accusation, once again pulled into a whirlwind of doubt, fear, and haunting memories she thought she'd overcome. Ava's attack has rocked all of Port Charles, but the biggest shock came when Kristina was immediately treated as the prime suspect. She never expected that her unresolved past, her unforgiven mistakes, could so swiftly make her a target for anger and suspicion. And this time, unlike her previous stumbles, Kristina feels truly alone. The accusations weighing down on her don't just scare her, they've triggered a deeply rooted trauma that's never been healed, the fear of being misunderstood, of being seen as dangerous, and of being viewed as someone out of control. Her reckless past, like sabotaging the car she believed belonged to Ava, is now silently used as evidence to validate all current suspicions. Even though she truly has no idea what happened this time. Kristina's name is once again tied to violence, emotional instability, and the capacity to hurt. As Kristina struggles to breathe beneath the crashing wave of public opinion and repressed emotion, Sunny and Alexis, her two closest family members, are forced to face a painful truth, the choices they've made for their daughter, the times they shielded her. The moments they chose silence over decisive action may have contributed to this very moment. Sunny, who once defended Kristina against the entire world, now begins to see that blind faith and unconditional love can also be harmful if not properly guided. Alexis, forever torn between protector and pragmatist, must now live with the regret of ignoring Diane's warnings. They believed Kristina just needed time, just needed love, and she'd be fine. But reality is proving that she's stuck in a cycle of emotional trauma, a loop where long-buried pain is ready to explode. Now Kristina is no longer in control of how the world sees her, and maybe not even of how she sees herself. Sunny and Alexis can no longer just watch. They must take responsibility, not only for failing to act earlier, but for not helping Kristina heal from the inside, from the deepest parts of her pain. This story has moved beyond personal emotions. It's become a major public event drawing the entire town's attention. One of the biggest shocks is how Kristina, though not officially charged, is already being treated as a threat. The suspicious eyes, the whispers, the cautious stares, they're all boxing her into a distorted version of herself. And the worst part is, part of Kristina is beginning to believe that distorted version might be real. Every action, every word, every emotional outburst from this point on will be scrutinized. And that won't just hurt her, it'll shake the very foundation Sunny and Alexis are desperately trying to keep intact. They must now decide, continue shielding her like before, or face the reality that their daughter needs more than forgiveness, she needs real intervention and a path to true recovery. While everyone is still trying to determine Kristina's guilt or innocence, one thing is painfully clear. She is drowning in the consequences of her past, in a lack of direction, and in the crushing sense of betrayal, by others and by herself. The shock Kristina is experiencing comes not only from the accusations, but from the cold, dense isolation forming around her. A loneliness more terrifying than any courtroom. Port Charles may soon witness one of Kristina's biggest emotional turning points. Either she will rise, face everything, and begin a journey of healing, or she will fall deeper into the darkness, where her nightmares become reality and the people she loves can no longer reach her. This story is going further than anyone ever imagined, and it's only just beginning. The nightmare engulfing Port Charles is no longer just about Ava's attack, it's beginning to uncover a far more dangerous hidden force, a calculated, shadowy, and cold-blooded explosion of chaos that all seems to trace back to one name, Sidwell. Leaked information and mounting clues are piecing together a horrifying picture. Sidwell is not merely a bystander in this story, he could very well be the mastermind behind Ava's attempted murder. Worse yet, he may have orchestrated a perfect trap, casting Kristina as the scapegoat for a crime she didn't commit. Ava, renowned for surviving tragedy after tragedy, seemed unshakable. But this time, her downfall came not from a known enemy, but from a hidden predator. A brutal, silent strike not only meant to kill Ava but to ignite a far more devastating collapse, one that centers on Kristina. Kristina's history of emotional instability, her once clear motive to harm Ava, and her involvement in a past failed sabotage have all become the perfect tools in Sidwell's hands. He doesn't need to act publicly. All he has to do is manipulate memories, amplify lingering doubts, and let Kristina's past betray her. In the eyes of many, Kristina has motive, a record, and lacks emotional control. She fits every piece of the narrative being constructed against her. And while everyone argues, investigates, defends, or condemns, Sidwell remains in the shadows, watching everything unfold exactly as planned. This isn't just pushing Kristina into a mental breakdown, it's shaking the core of Port Charles's most central figures. Sunny, the father who once believed that love and protection could shield Kristina from the world, must now face the truth. His overprotection may have left her more fragile, more easily manipulated than ever. Alexis is consumed by guilt, replaying Diane's warnings about the need for real treatment for Kristina, warnings she ignored. Now, she's haunted by the fear that her daughter is slowly unraveling because of her own indecision. All of this has triggered a massive shift in Port Charles, where loyalty, family trust, and the pursuit of justice are being shaken to their roots. Instead of being helped and healed, Kristina is becoming a victim of false accusations. Burdened with the guilt of a crime she may not even be connected to. She's not just being judged by the law, but by the very people who once loved her, her mother, her father, her friends. Even the community she worked so hard to fit into. Meanwhile, Sidwell, if he truly is behind it all, is quietly stepping deeper into power, hidden behind an impenetrable mask. He's not simply trying to eliminate Ava, he's trying to dismantle the entire moral system of Port Charles, turning everyone into pawns in his twisted game. By targeting Kristina, a deeply emotional, vulnerable woman with a complicated past, he's ignited a full-blown crisis where no one can be sure of the truth, and no one knows where anyone truly stands. If Ava survives and regains consciousness, her testimony could be the turning point. But if she remains comatose, or worse, can no longer speak, everything will continue to fall into place exactly as Sidwell intended. Kristina convicted by public opinion, Alexis and Sunny torn apart by guilt, Diane pulled into a complex legal war, and Port Charles spiraling once more into suspicion, betrayal, and hate. This madness is no longer just the fallout of an attack. It's a psychological and political war, where the strongest aren't those with power, but those who can manipulate belief. Kristina is now facing the greatest trial of her life, not just to prove her innocence, but to rediscover who she is amid the wreckage of trauma, doubt, and despair. And if the truth about Sidwell comes to light, Port Charles will never be the same. Trust will break. Loyalties will be tested. Relationships will shatter. This is no longer the story of one woman being attacked. This is an underground revolution inside a town long accustomed to pain, but never truly prepared for betrayal from the shadows. Kristina is now confronting a fate harsher and more unforgiving than anything she ever imagined. What she's being dragged toward isn't just the end of a bad chapter, it's a total collapse of everything she's fought to build, her honor, her mental stability, and the trust she's worked so hard to reclaim. She's no longer just the young woman who once fell for the wrong person or acted impulsively in a moment of anger. Now, she's being labeled a mastermind behind an attempted murder, a puppet easily manipulated by emotion, and a threat to a town she once tried to call home. Ava's attack shook Port Charles, but the immediate suspicion directed at Kristina is what turned this into a tragedy. To many, she's the perfect suspect, clear motive, history of extreme behavior, and a past failure to control her actions. No one sees her quiet efforts to change. No one talks about the therapy sessions, the steps she took to mend family ties, the times she humbled herself to reconnect. All that's left are the labels. And in a town like Port Charles, labels can crush a person from the inside out. As whispers grow louder and judgment creeps from every direction, Kristina quietly slips into a state of total isolation. Doors that once opened warmly now shut in silence. Eyes that once held empathy now brim with doubt. And worst of all, fractures begin to form within Kristina herself. She begins to question, to fear, what if they're right? What if, deep down, I really am dangerous? What if I hurt Ava without even realizing it? Meanwhile, Sunny, once her rock, the protector who always appeared when she fell, is standing at the edge of painful helplessness. Until now, Sunny used power, presence, and reputation to shield his children. But this time, the challenge isn't just family, it's a moral crisis. He's being pulled in every direction. Battling enemies, holding on to his shaky influence, and trying to protect a daughter he no longer knows how to save. Kristina is no longer the girl who runs home when things fall apart. She's on the battlefield, pushed to the brink. And for the first time, Sunny may not reach her in time. This silent war is spreading like a virus in Port Charles. If someone is truly behind Ava's attack, they could be watching right now, slowly dismantling Sunny's family, breaking Alexis's resolve, and erasing what little goodwill Kristina still has in this town. If this is a setup, it's a masterstroke of cruelty, aimed at the deepest wounds, exploiting the softest target, and attacking with precision. Kristina now has no choice but to protect herself, not with anger, but with a clarity and strength she never knew she had. And that may be the cruelest part of all. She has to grow up in the ruins, fight to survive when everything around her is waiting to pull her under. She may have to go to court. She may be cut off from those she loves. She may be imprisoned, not just behind bars, but in the cold judgment of people who once cared for her. And the most painful truth of all? No one might reach her in time to save what's left. Port Charles has never seen a breakdown this brutal. Kristina isn't just a suspect, she's become a symbol of a forgotten generation, abandoned, dismissed, and pushed so far they start to ask. If everyone thinks I'm a monster, maybe I should become one. And if the day comes when Kristina decides she won't take it anymore, the next shock to Port Charles won't be about who attacked who, it will be about who they lost forever. Alexis is entering a battle unlike any she has faced before, a war not merely about the law, reputation, or career, but one for the life, future, and very existence of her daughter, Kristina. As the accusations continue to weigh heavily on Kristina following Ava's attack, Alexis is forced to abandon every boundary between logic and emotion to rise as a mother, one willing to protect her daughter at any cost, even if it means putting herself in unimaginable danger. The confrontation between Alexis and Sidwell is beginning to take shape as a dark, brutal, and life-or-death showdown, more intense than any legal trial. While Sidwell remains hidden in the shadows, carefully orchestrating every move, Alexis starts to notice every odd detail, every forgotten clue in what once seemed like a straightforward story. Her sharp instincts as a seasoned attorney, combined with the desperate love of a mother, leave her unable to stay still. She digs deep into the scattered fragments, searching for the truth within the hidden gaps, and slowly uncovers that an invisible force is manipulating the system, all to frame Kristina for a crime she may not have committed. And then, the worst happens. As Alexis gets too close to the truth, she becomes the next target. No longer just vague threats or silent surveillance, now it's direct attacks on her personal life, her reputation, and her safety. Anonymous emails, forged documents, and even increasingly dangerous incidents begin to surround her, all clear signs that Sidwell is making his move, quietly but ruthlessly. Because in this game, if Alexis falls, Kristina will have no one left to stand beside her. The most horrifying part isn't just that Alexis is being targeted, it's the realization of how far Sidwell is willing to go to protect his secrets, to bury his crimes beneath blood and the despair of others. If someone like Alexis, a former prosecutor, a renowned attorney, a steadfast and resilient mother, can be manipulated, threatened, and pushed to helplessness, then no one in Port Charles is truly safe. The madness Alexis is now caught in isn't just a ripple effect from Ava's attack. It's the direct result of her own past mercy, hesitation, and softness when confronted by the darkness of unchecked power. She once chose to shield Kristina with love instead of facing the harsh truths about her daughter's inner struggles. Now, that softness has become an open wound, allowing Sidwell to sink his claws into both mother and daughter. But Alexis has no more room to retreat. She must fight, not just to save Kristina, but to preserve her own humanity and the belief in justice that has guided her entire life. The showdown between Alexis and Sidwell won't happen in a courtroom or a city hall. It will erupt in dimly lit hallways, whispered conversations, and silent attacks on truth and character. And if Alexis fails, the next blow won't stop with Kristina. It could strike anyone who dared stand against a system twisted to its very core. Port Charles is on the brink of true disaster. A town once proud of its loyalty, courage, and community spirit is now splintering under fear and suspicion. Alexis is the last light remaining to expose the truth, and if that light is extinguished, it won't just be a case that's buried, it will be the truth itself, forever bent to the will of a puppet master lurking in the shadows. And this time, that master doesn't just want to bring one person down, he wants to destroy an entire family.